Okay, now let's try this one more time. All right, can you guys hear me? Okay, please let me know if you can hear me because I am having the worst time trying to set this shit up. All right, let's see. I'm hearing sound. I got my phone here. Okay, all right, now let's try this one more time. Okay, fucking finally. All right. I can't even tell you how many times I've been trying to set this shit up. I wanted to do this at 10:30. It is now 11:43. I'm going out of my mind. Fucking shit. First the monitor didn't work, and then I finally got that fucking thing set up. Then there was no sound, and then there was too much sound. It's like, oh, god damn. Fucking computers. All right, anyway. So, we're all set finally, and I want to do some artwork and stuff here for you. Okay. And I do a lot of like Photoshop kind of stuff. Like I've been doing a lot of like these politics and art streams. It would just be me and then like doing some work on Photoshop and that kind of thing. And that's all nice and great and everything, but I wanted to try my hand with just like straight up normal ordinary drawing artwork, you know what I'm saying? Like um don't really have a plan for what we're gonna do here, but I figure I'll draw something vile and hideous because that is the world we are living in today. Let me just do one more test and make sure that this audio is not all fucking echoey and shit. Artwork, you know what I'm saying? Like, okay. Yeah, looks like we're good to go. All right, good. Then let me just turn that shit off. Okay, yeah, because that was pissing me off. I don't know if you saw the prior two attempts here, but it was like I was getting audio from like the TV, like the monitor and the desktop somehow, and like the webcam all overlapping with each other, and it was like this kind of like dividing by zero like whole of like I don't know. It was ridiculous, is what it was. All right. So anyway, let's see here. Now, while I'm doing this, I may occasionally like put a little video on the side down here or something like that. Um, you know. Okay, now let's see. What should we draw here? We probably want to draw something very like, well, I don't know. Let's see. What do we got? Maybe I could do something like, how does it, first off, how is this camera oriented? Well, the camera's kind of oriented a little weird, so let's try something like this. Hang on a second, folks. Actually, you know what? Can't do that. Can't do that. So I actually have to move. Okay. Because we want this to, shit. It might be upside down. Okay, fuck it. Who cares? Okay, we're moving on with this. I've put this off for too long. So, okay. Anyway, if it's upside down, I'll just turn it around occasionally so you guys can see. Okay, well, so how is everybody out there handling your isolation? Um, I think, I don't know about you, but me, myself personally, I'm getting a little, like, crazed, because I'm, like, sitting at home here going a little nuts. Actually, you know what? Let's not do that. Let's start that over. Yeah, I'm going a little crazy myself. As some of you guys may know or may not know, I'm actually currently unemployed, which sucks ass still. I actually lost my job before all of this shit started, so I can't blame the coronavirus on that. But basically, I was working in a temp position. Well, I had a long term, um, permanent gig that was basically came to an end. you know, and I don't want to talk about that too much because it's like sad and depressing. So I managed to get another job, and then that was like a temporary thing that lasted about a year, unfortunately, and so that's over with. And then, right as I'm sitting here trying to like look for work and stuff, and I was doing pretty good. I had some like interviews and that kind of thing, and but it was still taking a while. You know what I mean? Like I had something like 3 interviews with like 3 different places and narrowly missed out on one and was waiting to hear back from another. And then I actually had another one scheduled which got canceled because of the goddamn fucking coronavirus. So it's like it's not helping me very much at all. You know what I'm saying? Like so yeah, I mean, I didn't exactly lose my job because of the coronavirus, but it's really not helping me get another, find work, which is really, really stressful, And thankfully, I have a lot in savings, me personally. Between my wife and myself, we've got a significant chunk, so we're doing okay. You know, um, and we could probably actually last longer, depending if on how we like ration it or whatever, right? So, yeah, here's hoping that all of that goes well, and hopefully I'll be able to find some meaningful employment in the future here. I don't see it happening until all of this shit is done with. You know what I mean? Like, there's still jobs. Like, I have these websites that send me job notifications, and the thing is, what I'm starting to see is the same postings over and over and over. You know, and it just so happens that my chosen field, I could actually do some. That's something that I could do remotely, right? And so whereas in the past, I would see a job posting and it would say something like, 7 people applied for this job. Now I'll open it and it'll say like 200 people applied for this job. Like this is no joke. Okay, so really, yeah, the shit is starting to like hit people. I think what it was, what was it last week? Something like this record 6 million cases of you know, what was it? 6.6 million in unemployment, right? Like that was like a record thing. Like they've never seen those kinds of numbers before. And if I remember right, the prior record for the most people who apply for unemployment in a single week was something like 700,000. And then this past week it was like 6 million. That's a significant jump. That really tells you how bad it is out there. And you got to think those are just that went up just people who just lost their jobs because of the coronavirus. So a lot of those jobs are gone. Maybe not permanently, hopefully not permanently, but right. That's not taking into account everybody who was already like me, who are already like out of work looking for jobs before the shit even happened, right? And all of that. Um, So yeah, man, it's not good for anybody. I'm starting to see around here in my area restaurants and things shutting down. My favorite sandwich place like closed down for a little while, and basically the guy it's really cool sandwich place that is like delicious. And the guy told me like, hey, I can't get any supplies, right? So he had to close, and then he managed to reopen a little bit. Um, for like let me zoom in on this a little bit because that's kind of far away and you guys can't actually see that, so let's just zoom in just a little. Is this even like, I want to make sure that this is like something that's, come on, focus, there we go, just so you guys can see what I'm actually doing here. And then which way do I need to turn this in order to make it up right side up? Okay, I'd have to turn it that way. All right, so does that mean I have to come over here in order to make this right side up? Yeah, let's do that. Okay. Well, hang on, guys, because this means I have to arrange all of my shit around. Because, keyboard and all that stuff. And this might make it a little hard for me to see, but I'm really more concerned if you guys can see, you know. All right, anyway. So, yeah, come on, focus. Focus. There we go. All right. Stay focused. Okay, so you can kind of see what I'm doing. I'm just sort of like right now screwing around here. I'm not even really thinking about what I'm drawing. You know, um, maybe we'll do some kind of like weird evil succubus woman or something like that. Let's see here. Let's give her an evil dynamic, evil chin thing. Looking pretty good so far, right? Gave her sort of demon eyes. Okay, let's give her cheekbones. You know, people really like it when women have high cheekbones, even if they're like evil monster demon women. All right, give her a weird kind of forehead jewel, strange organ thing that you don't know what it is. You know, it's like, does she want to like kill you? Does she want to like, get down with you? You don't know. You're afraid. You're strangely attractive at the same time. Anyway, kind of looks like a scroll. That's sort of what we're doing. I don't know if you guys know the Fantastic Four. We got scrolls. You know, those are the bad guys in Captain Marvel. Those are the scrolls. Kind of looks something like that. Anyhow, let's continue on here. Yeah, so, there's a lot of anxiety all around. A lot of people are out of work. Um, and I think a lot of that'll come back once they open up, the once they like get rid of the social distancing thing, and then once they determine that it's safe for you to go outside again. I think as far as like retail and stuff like that, most of that'll come back, because I don't know about you, but me personally, I cannot wait to go to the movies, right? Like, I kind of thought like, okay, this social distancing shit, like, staying isolated, I thought I'd be able to handle that without any problem. Because really, to be honest, I don't really go out very much anyway. You know what I mean? Like, I don't go out, partying and stuff like that. I'm kind of a little too old for that. So it's and I usually just sort of chill at home and play video games and that kind of stuff anyway, so I figure, okay, well, fuck it. This is just what I'm going to do now, but I'm going a little crazy myself, and I really kind of realized that Jesus Christ, I really, really, really like going to the movies. You know what I'm saying? And the one thing that I really want besides that, besides going to the movies, is I want to get sushi. And I don't want to just order it and have it delivered because it's not the same thing. It's like you go out to get sushi, you want to have fun. It's the restaurant, it's the atmosphere, it's all of that stuff, right? It's not just eating the food. You know what I'm saying? Like you like, it's the whole experience, right? So like that's kind of pissing me. And I can understand, like why people are sort of like not taking it seriously. People are like rejecting it. You know what I mean? Like every day I go out and I walk my two dogs. I have two little dogs that wake me up at the crack of dawn, and because they need to be walked or else they'll, pee everywhere. Right? And so they wake me up at like 7 a.m. in the morning and shit. And so I got to go walk them. And, I'm starting to see people like outside just walking around, like either if they have dogs or just walking around going for walks, and then like people like there's a park near where I live. Lots of people hanging out in this park, and it's funny because they're like trying to do the whole social distancing thing. So like there'll be some people over here practicing their golf swings, that kind of thing. Or there'll be people over here like, a guy with his daughter, and they're like practicing like, um, soccer, like making field goals and shit with their like soccer nets and stuff like that. But everybody's like far apart from each other and nobody's talking to each other and stuff like that. And it's very kind of like, it's like, wow, people really, really, really want to like do social shit, but they can't. So they're just coming up with something, you know what I mean? Like they're trying to come up with anything that they can in order to, you know, stifle that boredom. And I don't know. I can identify. I can identify. But it's something. It sucks, but we got to do it. And I guess that kind of brings us to the subject of tonight's video here. Um, you know, because what I'm seeing right now is like this whole like this social distancing and like being in isolation and that kind of thing. You're starting to see people reject it, and it seems like the people who reject it are specifically right wingers, right? And it's becoming part of basically right wing culture, right? It's like becoming part of the fucking culture wars. You know what I mean? Like the same way that just pretty much any kind of social like commentary or subject out there gets folded into the soul. It gets folded into the culture wars. Like this is starting to become part of the culture wars, right? And you're starting to see people, right wingers, Trump supporters, shit like that. Shit, sorry, hit the light. You're starting to see these guys, and they're spreading conspiracy theories, and they're saying shit like, this is America and freedom and all that shit, and I would rather live free and die than, cower and hide from this virus, and you're starting to see like guys like Charlie Kirk and other like right wing hack, commentator assholes on like online and on fucking Fox News and One American Network and shit like that. And they're starting to frame all of this in like in the same language of, it's us versus like communism. You know what I mean? Like they're starting to say, okay, well, like one thing I saw on One American Network where the guy said, this is leading to us depending on the government to survive, and that's one step away from like communism or socialism and shit like that. And it's really really sad because that kind of rhetoric is going to get people killed. you know there's going to be people at home that watch that go on, that follow Charlie Kirk on fucking Twitter, or they watch One American Network. I can't remember the guy's name, but there's actually a John Oliver where they talk about One American Network, right? And you can see all of this shit. You can see the stuff live. I recommend like the latest John Oliver is like really good. It's got a pretty good expose as far as all that goes. And let's give her some head tentacles. Here we go. Right. And there's gonna be people who are going to see this shit and they're gonna like internalize it, and they're gonna be, too stupid to fucking actually obey to listen to what the science has to say, and they're gonna go outside and they're gonna get the fucking virus and they're gonna die. And that's because that's what happens when, your rhetoric, like, when your ideal, when you like put your ideology above facts. You know what I'm saying? Now I know that like me personally, right? I have very progressive politics. You know, uh, the person like that I probably like all of the candidates that I most likely you know align with politically. The closest one is probably Bernie Sanders. Okay, I really want people to have things like universal health care or you know, debt-free, tuition, right? In whatever form that would take. I really want these things. But the reason why that you know, I identify with his politics has nothing to do with him. It has nothing to do with Bernie Sanders. It has nothing to do even with the actual politics of progressivism, to be honest. I really don't care. I don't care where it came from. I don't care who came up with it. I don't care about what any of the political theories behind it is. You'll get some people who are progressives who are like, they come at it from like a Marxist like kind of perspective, and then other people that come at it from like an anarchist perspective and like other shit like that. And me personally, I don't care. I don't care where it came from. I don't care who thought it up. The only reason why I even subscribe to any of this shit is because of the practical effects on people's lives, right? That's why. That's why I support candidates like Bernie Sanders because his, policies that he actually like proposes will have a drastic, measurable benefit, beneficial impact on people's lives. Okay, that's why. And if the shit he was proposing wouldn't help people, then I wouldn't support him. And that's how, that's my purity test. Like I saw this video on Kyle Kalinske where he was talking about purity tests and shit like that, and some that he like follows and others that he doesn't. Me personally, I have no purity tests. I don't give a shit what any politician actually believes or what religion they subscribe to or what they say. I don't give a fuck about any of that. I care about their, the practical effects of what they propose and what they want to do and how it will affect people. And, you know, and the thing is, I believe that the progressive policies that Bernie Sanders uh, proposes would actually help a lot of people. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got to think like, okay, why is this shit so hard? Why is COVID-19 hitting us so hard right now? Right? Why do we need like stimulus? You know, why do we need to give people money and and there's this mad scramble out there to get hospitals, the right gear and all of that shit. Why is all that stuff happening? It's because basically, our country, like the policies that govern our country hurt people. You know, that's basically what it is because we have 40 years of neoliberalism, which basically says every man for himself. And by the way, we're going to cut taxes for rich people because we can. And that's basically how we've been going for pretty much my entire life, you know, uh, since the fucking Reagan administration, at the very least, since 1980, that's been the governing policy of the United States is extremely low taxes for rich people and a continuously diminishing social safety net for everybody else, right? And it kind of doesn't matter who the president's been. That's the way it's been trending, whether one way or another. Whether or not you've actually had Democratic presidents who have tried to reverse some of that. Certainly Barack Obama may have, wanted to, but he ultimately, shit, sorry, hit the camera again. He ultimately didn't, you know, whether that was, because of those were his policy goals to begin with, or whether that was because of resistance from the, Republicans. I kind of think it was a little bit of both of that. I mean, he certainly didn't really push for a lot of those policies to begin with. You know what I'm saying? But that's kind of that's how our country's been governed, right? And you think, well, okay, right now in Europe, they're getting hit pretty hard by COVID-19, right? But what you're not hearing about in Europe is, hundreds of thousands of people going into medical debt, or you're not hearing about, you know, entire corporations, companies going out of business, right? That's going to start happening here. It's going to start happening here, and it's going to start happening very soon if we don't get these stimulus checks that they said that they were going to pass. If we don't start getting these within the next, week or something like that, that's what's going to happen. Okay. And, you would think that they would have took some measures already to get rid of some of that shit. You would think that, okay, they know this is going to be a problem, so they would have done something to try to mitigate some of that. Maybe suspend rents, maybe mandate that mortgage carriers renegotiate mortgages so that, it doesn't freeze the payments but just moves them down a little bit or something like that. There's a thing I actually got a thing that from my mortgage my bank that has my mortgage saying that if you need it, we'll work with you. Right, so that for the next couple of months you can just sort of move those payments to the end of the mortgage. You know what I'm saying? stuff like that. And it's like, okay, that's great, but that should be something that is mandated. You know, that should have come from the governor or even the Fed saying, hey, you have to do this, right? It shouldn't be like a voluntary thing because for every company like mine that is actually cool enough to even consider that, there's, 10 other ones that are like, fuck you, pay me, right? Come on, focus. Focus. All right. Is that thing, I'm looking at it, it's very out of focus. All right. There we go. Sorry, fucking webcam doesn't want to stay focused. Okay. Anyhow, um, nope, stay focused. There we go. I think, wait, is it when I'm drawing that it focuses on my hand? Is that what's going on here? I think that is what's going on. All right, so I'll try my hardest to try to keep my hand out of the picture so that you can see what's happening. Anyway, let's see what we got. We got kind of a weird Medusa looking woman, She's got sort of like, yeah, like spikes and like kind of head tentacles and shit. So let's zoom down a little bit here and just kind of, create a little bit of a bod for her. Um, where was I? What were we talking about? Oh yeah, rents and stuff like that. So there was actually a video here that I wanted to share with you guys. Let me just kind of go over here. Let's see. This is all weird and difficult because I am like doing this from a strange ass angle. So let me just go over here and make this a little bit smaller. Okay. And I'll keep drawing. Come on, focus. Focus. Right. And I wanted to show you this video here. Let's see. Turn on my left monitor. Okay. So this is Mnuchin, right? Talking about stimulus checks. And basically, because it's come out that you are most likely not going to get this stimulus check for a little while. When they pass these stimulus checks, right, they basically told us, okay, you'll have them within 2 weeks. Okay. And now it looks like that's not necessarily the case. And what's happening is that some people who did their taxes already will most likely get it, but only if you took the option to do direct deposit, which I don't know why you wouldn't, but there are plenty of people out there who don't have that option, whatever. Like their bank doesn't support it, or maybe they don't have a bank account. You got to think like a lot of people out there don't have bank accounts for one reason or another. They live paycheck to paycheck, right? Or something like that. They want all their shit in cash for whatever reason. Maybe I don't know. But there are people out there like that who prefer checks for one reason or another. And if that's the case, then basically it came out in the news that it may take them until July or even August to get you this money if you don't have direct deposit. And if you haven't done if you haven't done your 2019 taxes yet, right, then it's going to be based on your 2018 income. Well, here's the thing. What if you lost your job? Like me, right? Last year, I was making fucking $80,000, you know? And so what if it gets, but what if it gets like based on that money? And the thing is, this year you're not making anything and you really need it, but oh no, you make too much money. Thankfully I've already done my 2019 taxes before this thing got passed, so, you know, it'll be based on that. And luckily, between my wife and I, it looks like we're gonna get like, our combined income isn't too much that we won't get anything, so we'll be okay. But, you know, what about all the people who won't be okay? You know what I'm saying? Like, basically, if you didn't do your taxes yet, then you're not getting this check for a little while, if not, months. Definitely not within 2 fucking weeks. So here is on Twitter, Mnuchin talking about these stimulus checks to a reporter. And I want you to kind of listen to what this guy says here. Okay, now check it out. Let's go ahead and play it.
Lenders are actually opting out because they can't make enough money to even service right into direct deposit. IRS now saying take 4 to 5 months. You're saying 2 weeks.
Well,
Gives
let me be clear.
gives a solid
Let me be clear.
timeline.
I don't know where you're hearing these things. I told you this would be 3 weeks. I'm now committing to 2 weeks. We're delivering on our commitments. The IRS, which I oversee, within 2 weeks, the first money will be in people's accounts.
So hold on, the question is not about the first checks for folks who have direct deposit. It sounds like those will go out pretty quickly. The question is then folks who don't have direct deposit. And there was a staff
Sure.
memo that was released by the House Ways and Means Committee today saying that that process could take up to 5 weeks. That takes you to mid-August. Is that how long?
That is not going to
Or
take
5 months, I'm
five.
sorry.
Again, let me just say, when Obama sent out these checks, it took months and months and months. I am assuring the American public they need the money now. What we're going to do is, again, if we have your information, you'll get it within 2 weeks. Social Security, you'll get it very quickly after that. If we
Okay. Anyway, so I wanted to kind of like point that out to you there. First off, this guy's lying. Okay, so you saw, so what that reporter was referencing was a report that came out from Congress, basically saying, okay, some people, you know, aren't going to get this money until August, right? And Steve Nugent just turns around and straight up lies. He goes, nope, you'll get it within 2 weeks. And then you see what he did? He deflected and blamed Barack Obama. Like complained about Barack Obama. When he sent stimulus checks, it took him months, right? First off, okay, Barack Obama never sent out its stimulus checks, all right? There were no, like, this type of stimulus that goes out to every single person. There was no stimulus during the Obama years. No. What there were stimulus that were passed in 2008 by George W. Bush. Okay, there was a Bush stimulus. All right, and then Barack Obama later on did a tax credit, right? That was basically the making work pay tax credit. Okay, well that wasn't a check that every person got in the country. That was a small you know tax credit that every person who filed their taxes, basically people who work, got that. So first off, please keep that in mind when this guy like tries to like deflect here and like blame shit on Barack Obama and like say, we're gonna do a better job where he did a shitty job and all that stuff. That's a lie. All right, that has nothing to do with anything. Okay. Um, Secondly, now think about that. Okay, August. All right, so you lose your job, you have no money, right? You're probably on unemployment. Hopefully, if your state has it and you can actually get it, you'll be on unemployment. There's some states like Florida, right, where like they basically fucked all the unemployment up. Like Rick Scott, governor of current or former governor of Florida. Now I think he's a state senator there. He basically ruined the process of getting unemployment in Florida so that less people would get it, so that it wouldn't have high numbers of unemployed people in Florida, so that it made them look good. Because why? Because Republicans hate fucking you know they don't believe in unemployment. you know like that's so now that the people fucking need it, he like people can't get it because the Republicans in that state fucked it up for them. You know what I'm saying? So if you're lucky enough to live in a state that actually has unemployment that you can access, like, California, something like that, that's great, you know, but now you're not going to get this federal stimulus check until, 2 months from now, 3 months from now, right? What's August? Yeah, 3 months, right? May, June, July, August. I mean, holy fucking shit. So what are you supposed to do in all this time? Are you just supposed to not pay your rent? You're supposed to not pay your fucking bills? Now, I don't know about where you live, but in California, unemployment pays nothing. It comes to I'm getting 450 a week, right? Which is like basically that's less than what you would make, you know, at minimum wage, right? Um, and I think the reason they do that is because they don't want people to be dependent on it. So, you know, that's the reason why it's so low. And the only reason that I'm actually getting that much is because I made, 80 grand last year. Right? And that's why I'm getting the maximum amount. Now, that's not enough to pay my mortgage, right? By itself. And that's why I'm very lucky that we have a lot of savings and my wife is still working because, we'd be fucked if we just had to survive on that, we'd be screwed. But let's say it was, my mortgage is roughly $1,700 is what I pay. 16 and change, right? And 450 a week is not, it's not enough. Okay, because first off, right, they make you you have the option of doing of withholding that. Basically they count it as income, so you have to withhold, for federal taxes off of that, which is kind of ridiculous. It's like unemployment income, but you have to pay taxes on it. Like holy fucking shit, you know. Yeah, hey, 9/11 greater than all. What's up? First checks will be out in 2 weeks. Do you know anybody that's actually gotten these checks? Because I haven't gotten a check. Have you gotten a check? You know, I did not get a check. So I don't know if you have or not, but then point to me where these people are fucking getting that, because maybe I should move there. Because I haven't gotten shit. Okay, so anyway, um, yeah, where was I, man? God, what the fuck was I talking about? Okay, so it's barely enough, to pay my mortgage, right? Well, let's say, I know that, for example, in my area, a one bedroom, like, studio apartment goes for $1,800. Okay, that's where I live, all right? That's the, uh, that's the rent on a studio apartment I live in a suburb of Los Angeles, so I can only, imagine. I know that Los Angeles has very high, like, uh, you know, very high housing costs, but I'm imagining that it's similar around the country, right? So, okay, it pays for that, right? Well, now what if you have other bills? What if you have, how are you going to pay your, health insurance bill? Okay. I mean, that's something that's really important right now. Health insurance. Okay. We all fucking need it. I mean, shit, it's a viral fucking outbreak, pandemic and shit. You would think that health insurance would be something that would be high on everybody's list of things that you need to have. Well, if you're unemployed, what are you gonna do? How are you gonna fucking get health insurance? Number one, and then you have that Cobra shit, right? That like you know costs an arm and a fucking leg. Well, how are you supposed to pay for that on when you're like getting like fucking unemployment? It's impossible. Number one. What else? You got your power bill. In my area, it's between $50 to $100 a month, depending. I think I paid $60 last month for my power bill, right? Your internet, you can't even get a job these days if you don't have internet. Okay, because you can't like go down to a place and apply anymore. That shit, those days are over with. So it's like apply online. Okay, so that's a necessity, right? And having a cell phone is a necessity too, because then you got to be to do like phone screenings and shit. Like every interview I've had over the last 3 months has all been phone screenings and like Skype and Zoom and stuff like that. I've been in actually one in-person interview this whole time in the last 3 months. Okay, what I mean, so these things are necessities. So if you want people to get jobs, they have to have power. They have to have a phone bill. They have to have phones. They have to have internet, right? And this doesn't, and then you have to like eat to survive. Okay, so you can't do it even if you had two people with all of this, getting the maximum amount, right? It's like almost impossible. You know what I mean? So seriously, and then they want all of this and they want people to like spend money and stimulate the economy at the same time. They're crazy. And why is this shit like so fucking blurry? Like, god damn it. Is there any way that I can like arrange this thing so that it stops auto fucking focusing or something? Seriously. That's what it's doing. It's trying to autofocus. And I wish I could, sorry guys, I wish I could like figure this out, you know. There's no button to stop the autofocus or anything like that. Anyway, well, you can kind of see what I'm doing here. All right. We have like an evil demon woman, with weird snake eyes. And yeah, not bad. Not bad so far, right? What else we got here? Let's put some let's see. We should actually sketch some of this out here before we just like straight up, you know. I have a bad habit of just not like sketching things out first. I always just like to kind of just go straight into it. All right, so let's do this. Let's see. These are, breastises, and then it comes down, and then we have a rib cage, and then out like that. Let's see. Knoxville, Tennessee. They have already purchased firearms from me. Well, that's great. Tell them to hurry the fuck up and send it to the rest of us. All right. And see, here you go. Okay, why are these assholes? All right, here you go. 911 greater than all, right? Why are these fucking people buying guns from you? Why? This is supposed to be to like, stimulate the local economy, okay? You're supposed to use this to pay bills. You're supposed to use it to like fucking, help your like local people so that they don't go out of business and shit like that, and so that people don't end up homeless. Yet they're buying guns. What the fuck is wrong with these people? I mean, I know you're a conservative and stuff like that, right? So I'm not like gonna like harp on you for the choices of other people that have made and shit, but I mean, help us understand, dude. Who are you afraid of? Who are these people afraid of? Seriously, like, what are they afraid that people are gonna show up and steal their fucking toilet paper? That's the dumbest shit ever. It's so stupid. It's like, oh my fucking god. Like, I don't know. I don't know. Like you get all these like crazy prepper morons who like go out and spend and like buy like 17 years worth of fucking canned food and shit like that, and like 42,000 rounds of fucking armor piercing bullets and all this other shit. And then they live in these bunkers underground with like, water filtration, and they're afraid that the fucking commies are going to take over and blah, 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 blah. Then when the shit really fucking happens, the things they run out of is toilet paper. Seriously, like, you know, I don't know. I don't know, dude. Like, I don't know why people think that this is going to result in, like, us all living in a Mad Max post-apocalyptic hell world. Society is not going to collapse because of a fucking, like, pandemic that, that doesn't even, like, most people don't even catch. Okay, that's not gonna be a thing that happens, okay? Like, it would take, like, fucking a nuclear war for that shit to happen. Alright, so, I don't know. I don't know, man. Anyway, okay, let's put some boobies on there. Alright, there we go. And let's see, we'll put some, like, weird kind of, like, tentacles and growths and shit, since we're drawing an evil kind of demon looking thing. Gotta make her sexy at the same time, because hell is like horrible and there's suffering and pain and all that, but at least there's hot chicks in hell, so. If fantasy artwork is to be believed. Okay, let's move that up there. Anyway, yeah, I don't understand. I just don't understand people, man. I really do not understand people. So there was some shit that I wanted to talk about. We're talking about Trump blaming Obama for things. Um, there's this whole little mini scandal over the strategic reserve stockpile that people are talking about in progressive circles lately. And for those of you who aren't aware of this, basically what happened is that Trump kind of blew it, you know, and it looks like a lot of the stuff that we're supposed to have in our strategic reserve stockpile we don't have. And of course, like everything else, he put his dipshit son-in-law in charge of it. So Jared Kushner is in charge of the strategic stockpile. So what actually is the strategic stockpile? For you people, out there who nobody knows, if you don't know what it is, it's basically the federal government keeps stockpiles of important things, medicines and, emergency equipment and that kind of thing, right? Gasoline is also something that's in the strategic reserve, related to this, not exactly stockpile. But they have things like they're supposed to have stuff like ventilators and masks and medicine and surgical supplies, that kind of thing. Specifically being stockpiled for cases like this. That's what it's supposed to be. Okay. And it so turns out that that stockpile has not been maintained very well. Now, how much of this is can be blamed on past administrations, I don't know. I really have not seen anybody do any much in the way of investigative reporting to like kind of see like, okay, did Obama replace it? Did Bush replace it? Blah blah blah. Because it's not just stockpiling the shit up, right? You have to maintain it at the same time. So you get some COVID-19 masks or something, right? And they have a shelf life of a certain amount of time. It's paper, it's rubber, stuff like that. Well, that stuff kind of like rots eventually. So if you have, you know, N95 masks sitting there for like 15 years and shit, when you go to like open them up, like all the rubber on them is like, rotted away and they're useless, right? So it's not just like keeping it in a stockpile, you have to actually swap it out once in a while, you know. And I really haven't seen much in the way of reporting out there as to like how much of this was like already destroyed when Trump took office, how much of it he like replaced or if he like cut funding to it. I haven't seen anything like that. However, you know, somebody has to be held responsible, right? And usually the person that's held responsible is the person in charge. They wanted to be in charge of this stuff. He's the one who ran for president. Okay. He's the guy that wanted to be in charge. So he's in charge. And when you're in charge, the buck stops with you. Okay. And it doesn't matter that it was like this when you got there. All right. What matters is what you do about it. You ever like work with somebody who tries to pull that shit? Like, oh, this was like this when I got here. I don't know. Well, what did you fucking do about it? Okay, yeah, okay, it was like this when you got here. Okay, the fucking, it was all screwed up. All right, what did you do about it? You didn't do anything. Okay, you fucked it up. So it's your fault. And especially if it's something like this that falls, it's your responsibility. It doesn't matter who was there before. It doesn't matter if, prior administrations completely destroyed it or or didn't pay attention to it or didn't keep it up to date or whatever. When you took over, when Donald Trump, when he took over, one of the things that's part of his responsibility as the president is to keep track of this shit. You know, that's his responsibility. That's what's one of the duties that the president is supposed to do. And it looks like he didn't do it. Big fucking surprise. Maybe he should have took some of that time off from all that fucking golfing and actually gone out and done his goddamn job. So this is the risk that you have when you elect a guy like Donald Trump who doesn't give a shit. Okay? Like when you elect a guy that doesn't work. He doesn't like working. I don't know like how many golf trips has this fucking guy taken over the last 3 years? You know, millions upon millions of dollars. I'm not even going to bother to go look up like some stats right now about how many golf trips he's taken. I mean, we all know, right? That's kind of, indisputable at this point. Maybe, like this is what happens when you hire a guy that basically has never worked for anything in his entire fucking life, right? Who doesn't read. Okay, there was a report that came out basically that he had warning in January of all of this stuff that this might happen, that we might have a huge outbreak in this country because it was already hitting China at that point, and a lot of the equipment we have is like no longer usable, right? And it was like not some report that came from some deep space state operative or whatever. It came from like fucking his economic God, who the fuck was it? I don't know. I'll see if I could dig that article up. And he basically ignored it. So he basically had for advanced knowledge, right? Somebody tried to warn him, and he didn't care because he didn't think it would hit here, you know. And I guess the official response is, "Oh, I didn't want to like cry wolf or whatnot, and it's like, whatever, dude. Like, and it's starting, you're starting to see excuse after excuse come from these people, right? And it really, really sounds like, it really sounds like when somebody's bullshitting you at work because they didn't do their job, you know? So what do you do when you get caught red-handed not doing your job correctly? What do? First thing you do, blame somebody else. Okay. This is what, I mean, this is what I was like a manager at my last job. When you encounter people, right, who don't do their job right, this is what they always do. They blame somebody first. They try to blame somebody, right? Then they try to blame the system. So, hey, it was that guy's fault over there. Oh, and by the way, the system's not set up right, so I couldn't even do it if I wanted to. Right. And besides that, it's not my responsibility. Those are the three excuses that you get from somebody who doesn't know how to do their job correctly. And this is what we're getting from the Trump administration. Okay. Seriously, like, it was Obama's fault. Okay. The system was set up wrong. And by the way, it's not even our responsibility in the first place. And this is one thing that I wanted to bring up because we just had this big speech about Jared Kushner lying about the strategic stockpile, right? So here's a thing from Politico here. Let me just go over here and turn on my left monitor. There we go. So this came from Politico, and I just want to kind of read some of this to you guys. Right. Strategic National Stockpile description altered online after Kushner's remarks. Okay, let me just make this a little bigger here so that we can all see it. Oh, shit. Wrong button. Hang on one second. Sorry, I'm at a funky angle here, so next time I do this, I will be better prepared. Kushner's remarks. Okay. The official government webpage for the Strategic National Stockpile was altered Friday to seemingly reflect a controversial description of the emergency repository that White House advisor Jared Kushner offered at a news conference Thursday evening. Okay, so I'm not going to read this entire thing here. Where is that? Oh, hang on a second. There it is. I'm not going to read this entire thing here. Long story short, he had a news conference, right? But I will put this link in the description so you guys can read it. Let's see. Hang on. Let me just move this down some. Okay, let's just make that smaller. In fact, you know what? Let's just get rid of that completely. But I will put that there so you guys can read it. Long story short, basically, he had a news conference where he came out and said that the Strategic National Reserve was not for the states, right? And said this was for the federal government, not for the states. Okay. And when reporters try to grill him on that, and then they go and they change the description on the official website saying what it was for. And this is what it used to say. It used to say this, okay. The nation's largest supply of life-saving pharmaceuticals and medical supplies for use in a public health emergency severe enough to cause local supplies to run out. Right. That's what it used to say. And then he goes on and makes this fucking thing, and then they change the language, right? And let me see if I can find exactly what it says now. It says that, Jesus Christ. Okay, now they change it to say this. The stockpile's role is to supplement state and local supplies during public health emergencies. Many states have products stockpiled as well. So basically, he said, oh God. So it's like, it's like we're being like led around by like the incompetent dude who works in the fucking boiler room, right? The guy at your job that they give the shitty desk to, and that who management is planning on firing come Christmas. That's who's like running the fucking show. And why would he do that? Why would he turn around and basically say that, right, that this is not for the states, it's for the federal government? Why would he do that? It's because they don't have the shit they need in the stockpile. That's why. All right. That's the only reason. If he actually had the stuff that everybody was like trying to get, then there would be no problem distributing it to the proper states, who actually needed it based on their need, right? Which that's also not happening, by the way. I don't know if you guys know this, but what they're actually doing is basically taking all of this stuff and giving it to a third party who then turns around and sells it to the states. And so the states have to like bid on it. Hey, what's up, Raph? Sorry, I had other shit there. You know. Yeah, 9/11 greater than 1. That's bullshit. Obama 37 versus Trump 56 golf outings. Yeah, more like 256. Okay, sorry, dude. You must be looking at a PolitiFact article from like February of 2017 or some shit because there's like 10 times as many Trump golfing outings, 56 times per month maybe. Jesus Christ. Anyway, yeah, so that's the reason why. Okay, the reason why he's even doing this is because they don't have the shit they need because he fucking blew it. Because they didn't think that they would actually need to spend money, on this kind of thing. Right? Because why? They didn't believe that it would be a threat, They're too busy, think about the politics that we had 2, 3 months ago. They're too busy trying to, with their stupid fucking trade wars that they caused, right? Trying to like find money to cut in the government so that they can build their dumb fucking walls to keep out illegal immigrants and shit like that, you know. Oh my God. And it's a perfect case of letting your ideology kind of like interfere with what's happening with the rest of the, of the country, right? And that's pretty much it. It's like, I don't know. Okay, I understand that everybody has things that they believe in and they want things to run a certain way. And even conservatives, right? Even Ms. 9/11 and all that, 9/11 greater than all. Me and you, we're really not that different. If you really think about it, what do we want, right? We want the country to run smoothly. And that's what we want. We want the country to run smoothly. We want people to be free. Okay. We want people to have jobs, right? At least, and we want it to be crime free and we want people to be happy. And I could pretty much, I assume that you and I both want that. Okay. And that's, we're really not all that different. Everybody in the country, right? We all just want to like do our, live our lives, do our jobs, be free, and, not have to put up with people's bullshit and whatnot, and probably not have to pay like, pay for ridiculous fucking things. And we want to make money. And that, we all want the same fucking shit. It doesn't matter like what your politics are. You know what I mean? So I think there's a lot of ground that we can come together in. And this is the time where like we should be putting aside petty differences. Right? We should be putting aside our petty differences. We should be coming together as a country and, et cetera, whatever, you know, smile on your brother, everybody come together and love one another right now. Right? And it's really just sad to see that our fucking leaders refuse to do that. So here's another thing right now, okay, that I wanted to talk about. Um, oh, holy fuck. So right now, talking about the strategic, stockpile and all that stuff, it seems like red states like Florida are getting every single thing that they ask for, while blue states like Michigan are getting jack shit. And it seems like this is being, these things are being distributed according to who kisses Trump's ass the most, right? And what states will help him in the election. And that seems to be what's fucking happening. So you've got, there's a ProPublica article right now out there talking about Florida and why it's getting everything it fucking wants. So Florida makes you know, Florida makes a request to Jared Kushner and the Strategic Reserve for certain equipment, and it was something like within 3 days they got 100% of everything, whereas Michigan didn't get anything. Right? Like got like jack shit, and it basically Mike Pence had to had to intervene in order to get Michigan the supplies they needed because Donald Trump wouldn't talk to the governor there because the governor is a Democrat who doesn't like Donald Trump. And it was a Democrat who is on the short list of becoming Biden's vice presidential pick, right? And he didn't want to help her, okay? And referred to her as basically he was like feuding with the governor of Michigan, and he didn't want to give her any fucking like equipment or whatever, which is absolutely fucking ridiculous, you know? Like, can you think, okay, what would happen, right, if a report came out, let's say, 2015, right, when one of those hurricanes hit, and it hit like, several states in the South. What do you think would have happened if it came out that Barack Obama was sending federal aid depending on which states were strategically likely to vote for him and which governors he personally got along with? What do you think would happen? What kind of scandal do you think that would be? Okay. I'll tell you what it was. It would be an impeachable scandal, is what it was. And they would have, you would have seen for weeks and weeks and weeks. They never would have let it go, right? That scandal they'd still be talking about it today. Okay. And he probably would have got kicked out of office for that. This happens to Donald Trump, and it's barely a blip in the news. Okay. It's like, the bar has been set so fucking low that these are the things that we're like fucking, you know, used to. It's become normalized, you know? It's become normalized that our leader, the person that leads us, is a complete scumbag, right? Who's just like, doesn't give a fuck about people and is using every opportunity to like profit from other people's misfortune. It's absolutely ridiculous. And I'm not talking about shit like, his he keeps pushing this fucking drug hydrochlorodoxil or whatever the fuck that is. I'm not even talking about that. I'm talking about like his future election prospects. We can talk about that actually a little bit later. Like if you guys don't know what's going on with that whole thing, um Trump keeps pushing this medicine that is like has not been tested or whatever. It's hydrochloroquine or whatever. And some people on the left are saying that he has like a financial stake in that, and it's actually not true. He doesn't. He has like a mutual fund that he doesn't control that is invested in a company that makes that, but it's like very very small, so he doesn't actually stand to make a lot of money. And even though like there was a report that he like met with the head of whatever company that makes this shit or something like that. I mean, what is not deniable is that he keeps spouting this like medicine as some kind of miracle medicine, you know, when it's not been tested. But I don't think me personally, I don't think the whole thing with hydrochloro fucking how do you pronounce that shit again? Hydrochloroquine. I don't think that has anything to do with Donald Trump actually making money from it. I think rather what it is that um, he's trying to like make it sound like we have a cure so that people will, think that he cured it, basically. You know what I'm saying? Like he wants people to think that he has it under control. So he's like, he read some shit somewhere or somebody told him about this drug that may, or may not be effective against this virus. And so now he has it in his head now that this is the shit that's going to save everybody. So he wants to tell everyone, how you doing, True America? Um, he wants to, yeah, that's why he's doing it. So I don't think it's because he's making money at it. I think it's because he wants to like bullshit people into thinking that he has it like handled. Right? So anyway, where were we talking about? Where were we? Yeah. I don't know, folks. Okay, so one thing I wanted to talk about here, because, all right, how long have we been streaming, by the way? Uh, we've been streaming for what? God, I can't even tell. It's been at least an hour, right? Okay, an hour and 5 minutes. All right. First off, what do you guys think so far? Kind of got, you know, I haven't really been like planning any of this out here, just sort of drawing an evil demon woman. And I think it's turning out pretty good. All right. There was a couple of things I wanted to actually talk about here. I wanted to talk about basically religious people and how fundamentalists are, you know, approaching and handling our viral outbreak here. So, hang on a second. Okay, but first, before we do that, you guys are gonna watch me free draw a hand here. Let's see. I'm doing this without any actual sketching underneath. I don't know if you can see that. Let's do that like that. Okay, looking good so far. See, folks, all you got to do if you want to learn how to draw is you just have to draw the same thing over and over and over again. Right. Okay, maybe I should have sketched that out first. It's a little small. In fact, it's way too small. Look at the size of her head and look at her hand. Okay. That's all fucked up. But that's okay, because it's a demon. And one of the cool things about demons is that you can just kind of make everything all weird and crazy. So we're just going to give her, like, tentacle fingers. Alright, let's just do that. There we go. Tentacle fingers, okay. Anyhow, yeah, so I wanted to, because this whole thing was titled Religious Covidiots, right? And this is what really is like making my blood boil here. Yeah, I fucked it up. I was trying to free sketch the hand, totally fucked it up, but that's okay. Um, so, well, see, if you look, so your hand is supposed to be the size of your head. That's it, like if you put your hand on your face, that's how big your hand is supposed to be. So if you look at this, I drew her hand way too small there. So, so that's why I'm just making it a weird ass mutant hand because fuck it, it's already destroyed. So whatever. Anyway, so yeah, one thing I wanted to talk about, yeah, religious people and how they're handling COVID-19. And there was a woman here. This hit Reddit, you know, and it was like kind of all over the news and stuff now. So let me kind of show you this thing here. Let me turn on my left monitor. All right. So I'm pretty sure you guys have all seen this lady that let me just make this bigger here. Okay. And let's see. I'm going to go ahead and play this. All right. Let me know if you can't hear that, okay? Yeah, that is pretty freaking horrible. um that kind of hit the yeah, that kind of is making the rounds in social media and stuff now. And it seems like you're starting to see an awful lot of religious people with that type of reaction to this, you know. Now, I myself, I'm not exactly an atheist. Okay, I mean, mostly, I guess I probably am in every way that counts, but I do believe that there's most likely is some sort of life after death. All right. Um, uh, oh, thanks. Yeah, hideous skin details. Yeah, well, Thanks, dude. Sorry, I am kind of reading back and forth from the comments here, but anyway, I do want to talk about this lady. So yeah, I'm not exactly an atheist, but I don't really believe in any type of organized religion out there. I mean, I guess I do come from a Christian background. My family were Roman Catholics, right? But I never really believed it, to be honest. And it just seems kind of like that's not really my thing. I mean, I guess if I really wanted to get internet famous and famous on YouTube, I would just make atheist videos, right? And like, and I didn't want to approach that because to me, it's sort of like your religion should be something that's personal to you, right? And whatever it is you believe, even atheism to some extent, you can't prove any of it one way or the other. Nobody has any way of proving anything. You can demonstrate that one particular belief is ill-founded or immoral, or there's no proof for that, or there's no proof of, no proof that this person existed or that person existed, blah 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 blah. You can do all of that shit, but when it comes to the actual core dogmas and beliefs and theology that any given person believes in. Me personally, I think that that's something that, you know, should be reserved for a personal, so, your own personal shit. And you should be able to believe whatever it is you want. So even if you're like a wacky, crazy fundamentalist, or if you believe in new age bullshit, or if you're like, you know, straight up Presbyterian, or if you're, a Baptist, Southern Baptist, whatever. It really doesn't matter because to me it's all on equal footing. It's all equally unprovable and therefore, you know, equally true or untrue, depending on what it is. That's just the way I look at it. Right. Yeah, dude, that's not true. Corona 9/11. Statistically, Corona is far less deadly than the common flu in the US. No, that's not true at all, dude. It is 10 times deadlier. All right. It is absolutely 100% 10 times deadlier. This is what the science tells us, okay? And that kind of like fits into what I'm talking about. So we'll get to that in a minute. Okay. Um let me see. What did Raph? Sadly, the minority of churches insisting on large gatherings seem to be the ones that's run by money-hungry con men, actual religious fanatics, or a combo of both who attract like-minded twits. Yeah, you know exactly where I'm going with this then. So anyway, that is the direction that I was going with this. It seems to be that a lot of these people are they're falling back on their religion and using it as an excuse to like, you know, basically disobey the social distancing and orders to not gather in large groups. So there are several states out there now. I think Alabama is one of them. I think it was Alabama who have finally started some social lockdowns and that kind of thing. I know a lot of them out there. Like up until last week, there were still like 9 or 10 states that just didn't do any type of preventative measures whatsoever. And now they're finally like, for example, like Alabama is starting to see like a large increase of cases, and they finally started to take some actions. But they still are exempting things like churches. They're exempting churches, right? Well, especially in a heavily religious state like that, right? You can do all the social distancing you want. You can do all of the, you know, shutting down all the other businesses and shit like that. But if everybody goes to church, you're still gonna spread the fucking virus. It's very counterproductive, you know. And I don't know what it is about religious people who like think that they're fucking. Not only do they don't want to obey the science, they don't want to listen to the science, right? I mean, whenever religious people ever wanted to listen to science, but they think they're invulnerable, and that's just not the case. Like, you know, your religion is not going to protect you from catching a virus. That's just not how it works. Okay, like that lady said, I'm covered in Jesus's blood. Well, if that were the case, if believing in a certain religion made you not get sick, then there should be no, it should be, you should be able to say, okay, well, this guy, do they have, what's the rate of Christians that have cancer, right? And we should be able to go and see and measure that, okay, if you believe in Christianity, for example, then it's demonstrably, the data should be there to show that you don't get cancer as much as everybody else, or you don't get emphysema as much as everybody else, or you don't like have high blood pressure or whatever, or you don't get colds or flus, and that should be the case, and you should be able to narrow it down to the denomination. That's how it should work. And it should be everybody in this denomination of Christianity never gets sick ever. And then we would know which religion is true. Okay. Then we would know which one is actually the real thing, if that was how it worked. It doesn't work like that. All right. I mean, fucking for real. That it's demonstrably untrue. The religion you believe in, the faith you have, how strong you believe it, right? None of that fucking matters when it comes to preventing a disease. Okay, and this lady here is going to figure that shit out the hard way. And I'm not, a lot of people out there are going to be like, "Oh, I don't wish it on anybody." It's like, "Yeah, I don't wish her to get sick either." Okay? But what I do want her to learn her fucking lesson. And the way it's going, most likely that is what's going to happen to her. And it's sad that that is it. If she doesn't get sick, then somebody she knows is going to get sick, right? Somebody in her church is going to get sick. And then maybe finally people like that fucking lady will get it through their thick, bony ass fucking heads, right? That science itself is not a religion. See, I think that's what it is. See, for years and years and years, these people have just been like denying science, from everything, everything from abortion to global warming, especially global warming, climate change, whatever. And it's become part of the conservative Christian, right-wing Christian culture that scientists are lying to you. You know, it's basically part of the thing, and that's why you see a lot of really weird, like wacky health kind of shit coming out of these people too. These are the people that like drink fucking colloidal silver, like in fact that was the thing. Jim Baker. I don't know if you guys remember Jim Baker. I talked about this in one of my prior streams from like, 2 weeks ago. Got caught selling fucking this silver solution shit that, and he was like saying that it was a COVID-19 cure and all that stuff. Well, Jim Baker actually got sued by God, where was it? I got it written down here. Jim Baker was sued by New York and Missouri for claiming that his fucking like ridiculous silver solution bullshit was a cure for the fucking coronavirus. You know, I don't know if you guys know what that is. Actually, I kind of looked at this in my prior live stream, but it's actually worth repeating because this stuff can fuck you up. Like that silver solution stuff. It's basically colloidal silver. I don't know if you guys know what that is. It's a thing that you see a lot here. I'm gonna actually draw this hand out and make it like to scale here because I fucked that last hand up so bad. So let's see. Her head is this big, so that means that this should actually come way lower. Yeah, so colloidal silver is basically a remedy from like fucking the 19th century, right? And it was the shit that people took before they discovered, before they discovered like fucking you know, vaccines, basically. Before they discovered like real God, what the fuck is the medicines? You know what I'm saying? Like antibacterial stuff. Penicillin and shit like that. Basically, it was basically that was And what it is it actually does like promote, uh, uh, it actually does kind of get rid of like viral infections and stuff like that, right? At least that's what the health, the alternative health people say. All right, she's just gonna have one arm that's longer than the other. Oh well, too bad. It's kind of too late at this point, but who cares? She's a demon. She can be disproportionate. Anyway, and yeah, but basically what colloidal silver is, the silver salts kind of accumulate in your body, right? And the longer you take it, the more likely you risk getting this condition called God, what the fuck is it called? Aprasia, something like that. Anyway, and what it does is that it turns your fucking body like blue. Your skin gets blue, and like you look like this weird kind of fucking blue Smurf person. Yeah, antibiotics. That's what it was. Antibiotics. Sorry, I can't fucking think right now. I'm trying to concentrate on too many things. Yeah, before basically they invented antibiotics, they used to take colloidal silver, and these other types of like home remedies. And this shit can fuck you up. And so I actually want to kind of show you guys this. I did this in my last stream too, but yeah, it definitely is worth repeating. So let's just go over here. Let's do video left monitor, right? And I'm gonna search here for let's see, colloidal silver side effects. Okay, colloidal silver. I can totally spell. All right. This is what that shit does to you. Okay, this is what this stuff that Jim Baker is selling turns you into. Okay, it's fucking agrippia or something. There's a name for this condition. Yeah, agrippia, right? Argyria. Yeah, and you'll notice that when you look this up, like I recommend everybody, look this up. You'll see that these people that take this shit tend to all have the same kind of they're all tend to be libertarians or like anti-government people. You know what I'm saying? The kind of people that think that the NWO is going to take over and like Jewish lizard people are like controlling the government. Like this dude was actually part of the Libertarian Party, this guy right here. Right. And it's because, like you get these strange like kind of fucking beliefs. Here, let me turn this monitor off. You know, extreme beliefs, right, are most often like they attract strange people, right? And basically that kind of shit can like here, let me just go back to hang on a second. Go back to my stream. All right, let me go back to the True America. I hope Trump plays golf on your bodies when the virus is over. Yeah, me too. Anyway, you get the idea that it's basically people who are like putting their wacky conspiracy theory beliefs ahead of science when and ignoring what like actually happens in real life. you know so just want to kind of I wanted to like kind of point that out again because it's something that you can't say often enough. Like, believe whatever you want. Okay, believe whatever it is you want to believe, but when it comes down to it, the science is going to trump your belief. You know what I'm saying? And it doesn't matter if you have the blood of Jesus covering you, or you're taking whatever kind of like weird ass, stupid, fucking holistic pseudoscience bullshit medicine that you want. If the science doesn't back that up, then you're playing with your life. And in this case, you're not just playing, in the case of this COVID-19 outbreak here, you're not just playing with your life, you're playing with other people's lives. You know what I'm saying? Um, Seriously, like, you're not, like that lady in that car, saying that I have the blood of Jesus covering me, blah, 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 blah. She's not just putting herself at risk, she's putting other people at risk. The way that this virus works, COVID-19, is that half the people that get it, right, will not have any symptoms at all. Okay. So 50% will not have symptoms, but those people can still spread it around. Okay. The 50% of people walking around right now, not coughing, no headaches, no fevers, no nothing, you can still catch it from them. All right. And then the 50% that, do have, the people that actually do have, like, symptoms, right? 80% of those are just going to have, like, mild symptoms. So they might have a slight fever, something like that. They might have a slight fever and a headache and a cough for, a week. And it's not even enough to, like, go to the hospital, or even, it wouldn't even be enough to call out of work. Actually, I was talking to my father. My father thinks that he might have had it in January because he had the exact same symptoms. And it was like, it wasn't that big of a deal. He's like, oh yeah, it was fine. It hurt for a little bit, but then, what? His wife caught it, and then their friend caught it, and they all had the same symptoms, right? And so they think that, it was already out and about. Like we already went through one round of infections and shit back in like December and January, right? Anyway, so that's how the shit works. And it's only really that last 20% of people who get serious symptoms who end up in the fucking hospital, you know, and need respirators to fucking survive and shit. Right? And so, yeah, okay, you may be, the chances are, and this is actually something I wanted to say to you, 9/11 greater than all, because you're posting stuff saying that this is statistically not as bad for you as it is, say like you're comparing this to the flu and stuff, right? And it's like, yeah, okay, the chances of you dying, you yourself personally dying from it, you know, not that great. Okay. Especially if you're younger, right? If you don't have pre-existing conditions, if you're not, 65 and older, you don't have high blood pressure, right? You don't have diabetes or anything like that. If you're a young, healthy guy, chances are you'll be able to survive, right? What about the people around you who are not? Okay, what about old people? Okay, people that in your community who are older, right? Your parents, your grandparents. Okay, the guy at the store that runs the sandwich shop across the street from the store, the guy bagging your groceries. What about those people? Okay, you don't know what they have. You don't know their situation. You don't know if they have. God damn it, focus. You don't know if these people are healthy or you know, maybe they do have pre-existing conditions. Maybe they might end up in that 20% of people who actually like really, really get affected bad by this, right? Are you willing to put those people at risk? Are you really going to like, yeah, the dude's a troll, by the way. I mean, True America, it's cool, but he's kind of our resident troll. I think he's actually kind of cool, so you're okay by me, True America. You can stick around. I'm not going to kick you or anything. But please keep it civil if you don't mind, True America. Anyway, you don't know about like how other people out there in your community are going to react. So even if, you are fine, you're not taking precautions will put them in danger. Okay? And it's like I can't abide that shit. It's fine. It's sort of like people who like don't want to wear their fucking seatbelt, even though that the seatbelts are fine. That seatbelts will protect you from being ejected from your car and dying. And there's just certain fucking people out there that just don't want to pay attention to that shit, and they refuse to wear their seatbelts, and they get in car accidents and stuff. It's like, well, imagine, it's like a guy that won't let anybody he drives with wear a seatbelt. That's kind of the equivalent of what we're talking about here. You know. Um anyway, and you're seeing a lot of this coming from religious people. I don't know. Absolutely fucking ridiculous. So you're starting to see like lots of really crazy shit. Like another story I got here, Pat Robinson blames coronavirus on oral sex. Here's one that I want to show you guys here because this shit is hilarious. So let's see. This is the Business Standard. Pat Robertson blames coronavirus on oil, sex, lady chemicals. We're not going to play the video. But anyway, this one is just funny. You know, if you don't know who Pat Robertson is, he's the basically owns the 700 Club, which is like one of those religious shows where they like, you know, ask you to put your fucking hands on the monitor and stuff like that. Right. And, you know, ask you to send your life savings so that they can buy a new fucking jet, airplane, or whatever, you know. And he's blaming it on oral sex. What did he say here? Some of these youngins are doing all kinds of unnatural things with their sex organs. When people do that, they transfer all kinds of chemicals from ladies' private parts, and that's where I think the virus came from. We never had this kind of thing when I was coming up, but no one was committing oral sex back then. Committing oral sex. Okay. And you know what? I didn't make that up, all right? Let me just, like, this is, you know, this is what he actually said. He actually fucking said this shit. Committing oral sex. Like it's like a crime. Like, can I go to prison because I committed oral sex this morning? You know? Oh, yeah, you're wanted in 7 states, you know, for 25 acts of, you know, committing 25 acts of oral sex. It's like fucking ridiculous. Do people actually believe this shit? Unfucking real, you know? And goddamn, and I really hate to think about when Pat Robinson was growing up, there was no such thing as blowjobs. No wonder he's such a crusted up old fart. Seriously, man. God damn. Anyway. Hey, True America, thank you so much. Come back anytime. Hey, you guys, come on. No arguing. Everybody be cool. Anyway, yeah, well, at least you have a job. 9/11 shit. I wish I fucking could get a job. Anyhow, I don't know. I don't know. It's just really fucking like, I don't know what's happening to this country, you know. Here's another one here, another video I wanted to show you guys. Let me see here. Let me just enable this. Another video here about a crazy religious person. All right, video capture. Left monitor, turn it on. Okay, this pastor, here we go. Let's, conservative pastors encourage congregants to dismiss COVID-19. Okay, this is a very short video, so we'll just play the whole thing. Well, we're not going to play the whole thing. So, yeah.
They don't want us to do this, but just turn around and greet 2 or 3 people, tell them, you love them, Jesus loves them. Amen.
Amen.
Listen, this has to be the safest place. I said this has to be the safest place. If you cannot be safe in church, you're in serious trouble. Serious trouble. We are not stopping anything. I don't This church will never close. The only time the church is closed is when the rapture is taking place. This Bible school is open because we're raising up revivalists, not pansies.
Alright, that's enough of that shit. That's driving me fucking nuts. We're raising up revivalists, not pansies. Because only you goddamn homo Jew-sexuals believe in science. Unfucking real. It's like, ah, my God. I can't, I don't even really know what to say about this stuff. Oh, Raph, that's bad. You can't be wishing suffering on people. I mean, come on. Well, no. I mean, yeah, I understand the sentiment for sure. You know, you really do want to see people that you want to see them getting their comeuppance, you know. And it's because, you know, like I say, it's not because of what they believe. It's because their actions have negative impacts on people in real life. Their actions are putting people in danger, you know. And here's the thing, right? Because in the past, like, you could say this about whatever other political beliefs people have. Okay. you could make the case that, say, somebody who is against universal health care, their beliefs are putting people in danger, right? You could actually say that. You could say that their beliefs are, you know, resulting in human suffering or whatnot. The difference is it's not direct. Okay. It's not really direct when in that case. You say, okay, well, he doesn't like, let's say somebody who doesn't believe in universal health care, right? He's not actually going out there taking away other people's health care. He's just voting for people that are putting in policies that result in greater human suffering. And even though that's like essentially the same thing, right? But it's Pat. No, but really, even though that's essentially the same thing, it's not as egregious because they're not directly responsible for increasing people's suffering. Well, in this case, they are. In this case, people who are not self-isolating, who are going to church meetings and shaking hands and going to Walmart like that lady said and buying groceries and not wearing masks and all that stuff are definitely, you know, responsible, directly responsible for putting other people in danger. And that's when the shit stops. That's kind of like when bringing this back around to our prior discussion about preppers and stuff, you know, that's kind of the thing when libertarians and shit always say that your rights end. The right from you to swing your fist ends at my face, right? Yeah, how come that doesn't apply in this case? I can guarantee you more than one person that goes to that lady's church has political views that align like that, of the libertarian, right wing libertarian type. Right. How come they're not putting two and two together? Why is it okay, to get somebody sick so that they can die, but not okay to punch them in the face? It doesn't make any sense. I guess that's what I'm trying to say here. None of this shit makes any sense. So anyway, goddamn, it's almost been what time? How long have we been doing this? About 1:36. All right. I think. Do I have anything else I want to talk about here? Let me just go through my fucking notes some more. I don't know. There was a lot of shit that I wrote a lot of notes down, and I probably talked about, you know, I don't know, 10% of it. uh, I guess I should really like be better prepared next time. I know the next time I do this, now that I know what the audio setup and shit is, it'll go much smoother. I promise. And maybe I should just actually write all this out. But I actually kind of like just sort of taking it from the cuff here. Even though I have a tendency to kind of like screw up my thoughts sometimes. So that's what I rely on you guys for. Oh man, where? Let's see. What did you say? Okay, where is the equivalent of the old crazy religious lady swinging the bat in this analogy? Um, well, the equivalent is people who are not isolating swing. People who are not isolating and potentially spreading around this virus. That's the equivalent. Okay, you know, you don't like it's basically like like you say, okay, your right to swing your bat ends at my face. You're not allowed to hit me in the face, but you can swing your bat around all around, right? Well, you know, your right to like go outside and gather and stuff like that in social gatherings ends at you know the potential of you spreading a life-threatening virus to people. I guess that's basically what it is. So let me see. Let me go through some of this chat. Did any of you guys ask any questions about anything before we end this? Okay. Oh, Jesus. Do you guys have any questions you want to talk about? Because I'm getting tired. It's like 1 in the morning here, and we've been going for 2 hours, so. But I figure I should ask before I just before I just end. I don't know. Anything specific you guys want me to talk about, or are we all cool? Because I don't know about you, but I'm getting tired. You know. Mundane humans, damn, you're fast at drawing. It's truly impressive. Oh, well, thank you. I mean, the thing is, this kind of weird, I do this kind of thing so often that it's a piece of cake. So, like putting on these sorts of weird ass skin details and like, you know, I don't even have to like think when I'm doing this because this is like, I mean, you saw like my sketchbooks and stuff, Raph. Like I have like basically pages and pages and pages of shit like this. Right? So it's very, you know, easy for me to like actually do, you know. Um Usually I don't even like sketch it out first. Like I took the you know, I took this step of actually drawing like a bare bones thing here. I usually don't do that. I usually just kind of just fill the whole page of stuff, you know. Um, but anyway, but yeah, you can kind of see like I did kind of screw up on the arm there, and her head is a little weird. Her neck is kind of thick, so you know, I think it might actually help me a little bit to kind of plan it out a little more rather than just like kind of do it off the cuff like this, you know. Um, but anyway, all right, yeah, guys, you know what? Oh, well, thanks, 9/11. I really appreciate it. And you know, I don't want to be like, hey, 9/11 or 1911, sorry. I don't want it to sound like I'm picking on you, all right? I don't. And it's just because, I know our political beliefs are don't align very much. And I'm not trying to pick on you personally, you know. I mean, I don't even really know who you are, really. The only way I know you is because you come on my channel and we, chat and shit like that. And like I was saying before earlier in the cast, you know, we're not that different. Me, you, someone from my political beliefs and somebody from your political beliefs, we're really not that different. We ultimately want the same things, and I think this is a good opportunity for us to kind of like, you know, kind of come to an understanding of what those things actually are, you know. Right now, like right now, when all of this like thing with the fucking virus and shit finally like clears up, our country is going to be in some very bad shape. It's going to be in bad shape because we got bad leadership, right? And the economy is going to be screwed. If we're not in an outright fucking depression, it'll be a recession. And I think that this shows us that, we need some fundamental restructuring of what the country is. And a lot of that, I think we can come to a lot of common ground here. One thing that we're going to have to show is that we really definitely need to give access for people to have health care, you know, especially in a case like this, right? Um, Seriously, like in a case like this, like in a viral outbreak, it's important that people are able to go to the doctor, right? And not only go to the doctor, not only have access to healthcare, but it needs to not fucking ruin them financially. See, that's another thing that like places in Europe, they don't have to worry about that shit, okay? If you live in, some place that has socialized medicine, for example, right? When and it's not so much that okay, you get access to the medicine, but it's also that the treatment is not going to fucking put you out of house and home. Like, can you imagine how much is it going to cost you right now? Like, let's say that you actually do manage to catch this, you do get sick from this, and you actually do need to go for an extended hospital stay. Even if you have insurance, how much is that going to cost you? Okay. Now, I get insurance through my wife, right? Thankfully, because my wife is still employed. So she has really good insurance, you know. Even with her insurance, I'm looking at thousands upon thousands of dollars if that happens. If I have to go to the hospital and I have to do an extended hospital stay, you know, even if I think they pay something like 80% my wife's insurance. It's like and that's like good as far as insurance goes in this country. Okay. 80%, well, 80% of a bill that could conceivably be somewhere around $200,000. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna fucking that's too much. It's absolutely too much. Even if you are employed, even if I still was employed, making what I made last year, I was making 80 grand a year last year, right? Even if I still had that, that'd be ridiculous. I wouldn't be able to afford it, even with that shit. Okay. And now imagine that, you lost your job because of this, and you're fucking using these stimulus checks to tide you by so that you don't end up fucking homeless and you get sick. And it's ridiculous. Okay. Europe doesn't have to worry about that shit. Okay, if you live in England or France or Germany or the Netherlands, that's something that is not something that's not a worry. You don't have to worry about that, right? It's like the least thing from your mind. And imagine what kind of pressure on the economy that takes off of you. All right. Because then, know what that also means? That means if you're an employer, you don't have to like worry about getting insurance for your employees because they already have it. So that's just something, that's one thing that every company in the United States has to like bother with. If you're over a certain amount of employees, I think it's over. If you're over 50, then you have to like set up fucking you have to set up like health insurance for your employees, and it's actually like the law says you have to have it and all this other shit. Well, it's like and you have to pay for that. That comes out of your bottom line, right? You know, yeah, okay, cronyism and no competition between medical technology companies is the cause. Well, here's the solution, dude. Get rid of all of that shit. Socialized medicine would completely get rid of that completely. You wouldn't even have to worry about cronyism if the shit was socialized. You wouldn't have to worry about no competition between you know, health insurance companies over state lines and shit like that. That none of that would even be a concern if we just socialized it. Okay? And it would even be better for, whatever corporation is hiring people because right now that's how most people get their health care. They get health insurance through their employers, right? You wouldn't even have that'd be an expense that they could just take right off. If it all came out of our taxes, right? Now, why does it matter how do you pay for it? Why does it matter if it's something that you pay for yourself personally, or if it comes out of your paycheck, or if it's something that you pay through your taxes? Ultimately, you still have to pay for it, correct? Yes, you do. Okay, you still got to pay for it. So why does it fucking matter if it's something that comes from your taxes or if it's something that you pay, you know, that you pay for through your employer? It doesn't. Ultimately, it's all going to the same fucking place. So why don't we just make it in such a way that that everybody gets access to it? You know, maybe then when we have a fucking viral outbreak, we won't have 50 million people in the country with no health insurance. Okay. Those people are going to die. Okay. They're going to die because they don't have insurance. Right? Because when you don't have insurance, you can't go to you end up paying a ridiculous amount of money if you go to the doctor. So what happens? You don't go to the doctor. So then what happens? So then you only go when, like, it's emergency room time. Okay, well, the fucking emergency room is like not gonna save you. Like, by that point, it's too late. Okay, you have to, like, the way that you stop this shit is you have to find it early. You go in, they find you early. They go, okay, yeah, you have this. All right, get in here. We're gonna monitor you. That's the people that have insurance are gonna the ones who are gonna live. You know. Yeah, see, that's irrelevant, dude. Socialized medicine assumes the government is competent. That's irrelevant. Okay. Which government agency do you trust absolutely? Well, people seem to trust the fucking military, right? That's an agency that people trust, do they not? Okay. You know, I mean, they seem to fucking be able to handle that shit pretty well, right? Seriously, man. Like, you know, it doesn't. God, dude. This is what I'm talking about, man. Like, this is what I'm worried about. What I care about is the practical effects on people's lives, right? Like, what is this policy? How is it going to actually affect real people in real life? Okay. Does it affect, does it help people or does it fuck them up? That's what I care about. Well, then I guess that's, wait, you don't trust the military? Oh, well, I don't know. Okay. I think that, the Army Corps of Engineers, there you go. There's one that I trust. All right. Um, you know, I mean, seriously, okay, that I don't know, folks. And yeah, okay, here's the thing. It won't be perfect. All right, I'll just say straight out, if we did, oh shit, come on, focus, focus, you piece of shit. Is it like that the whole time? All right, I've really got to fucking figure this shit out. I'm the first person to say it wouldn't be perfect. Okay, because that's exactly you're exactly right. All right, there would be. Yeah, thanks, dude. I just saw that it was out of focus. Yeah, you're exactly right, man. That yeah, there would be a lot of grifting, and there would be a lot of inefficiencies, and there would be a lot of, you know, bullshit. Blah 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 blah. Right. Ultimately true. Well, there's a lot of that. Thanks. Yeah, thanks, dude. There's a lot of that right now. Even right now, you know, it's already not perfect. So how's it going to be any worse? Right? I don't see, you know, the negatives do not outweigh the positives. All right. The health system is already fucked up, you know. And one of the things the most fucked up thing about it is that not everybody has access to it. So I don't know. And so anyway, this is just something I want to something to think about, okay? The real life effects of people on people's lives. How can we improve people's lives? You know, that's what we should be talking about right now. Right? Because yeah, come, you know, come this time next year, there's going to be the country, you know, is going to be in very bad shape. Not even next year. Come this time 3 months from now, it's going to be in very, very bad shape, and we're going to have lots of things to think about. And this election is going to be even more, you know, the presidential election, and even more than a referendum on Trump. It's going to be a referendum on basically the system of, you know, governance of the United States here, and how our medical system is set up, how our economy is set up, all of that shit. And it's like now's the time to actually take, you know, a hard look at all of this. Anyway, guys, it's been 2 hours. I'm fucking tired as fuck, so we're gonna end this. But let me zoom out a little bit here. So let me see if I can like kind of show you what we got. See if I can get this to focus a little better. Come on, focus. Okay. There's a setting in here somewhere that I gotta find that turns off the autofocus. But anyway, come on, focus, focus, focus. Focus. There we go. So, you know, it focuses when I put my hand in front of there. But anyhow, um, yeah, it kind of looks okay. I'd like, you know, something. She is really disproportionate here. This hand is way too small than that hand, and maybe I really should sketch it out first. But anyhow, I don't know. I'll probably finish this up later and then add some wings to it or something, and then I'll probably go in Photoshop and make this bigger. You know, make this hand bigger so that it matches, and then I'll post. You know what? I'll post this up so you guys can see it. Anyway, yeah, I'm fucking exhausted. So thanks you guys, especially you, Raph, and you, 1911. Thanks for sticking around. Um, Appreciate it. And I will talk to you guys later. And I hope you enjoyed this. And it looks like it wasn't a complete disaster. So anyway, good night, you guys. I'm out.